So this is a recording I will do to show how to build a power map, a simple power map from a set of data showing the population of Sweden over all the municipalities. We have 290 municipalities in Sweden, and this data comes from the University of Umeå and Statistiska Centralbyrån, the statistical agency of Sweden, so to speak. So municipalities here, and we have years here in columns. So all these years, they go back from 1810 to 2012. The earlier ones are, of course, estimates, but they are. I think we had calculated populations each 10th year or something like that. So back then, but I've extrapolated the numbers between them in order to get a smoother animation later on. You'll understand what that is. Okay, so the first thing I want to make sure is that I have Power Query installed and that I have Power Map installed. And Power Query is this little thingy there. And on the Insert tab, I should have the map, Launch Power Map there available. So that's good. If I would build a power map over this, I would have each column show up in power map as a separate year, and that would not be good. So what I want to do is I want to make this into something that is usable. So I'm going to bring this into the data model, Power Pivot, and I just select the entire table first, table 1. So I now have all the 290 municipalities and all the columns. Then I hit Power Query, and I use Excel data from table. Clicking that will open up a new query window, and I'll have all my years in here. So what I do then is I mark the first year, and I just drag over to the last one. So that's 200 columns in one. And then I can right click, or I can just click the unpivot button right there in the transform piece of the ribbon. And what that does is it creates all those years into one new column and essentially the population number as well. So all I have to do then is I have to rename these to year, and I rename this one to population. I also need to make sure that the data type is correct. So I mark year, and I make this a date. I mark population and make sure it's a number. If I miss that, it will be trickier for a power map to actually show this as a number. So you need to make sure it is a number. It looks like a number, but just make sure it is a number by doing that a second time. Then you of course can go in and look at the applied steps if you want to. Essentially, in the editor here you can see the M script that has been used, as it's called, for the transformation. Then you can hit load to data model. We don't need to bring this into a worksheet. That's just unnecessary. Of course, we have everything in the worksheet as well already. I see here that I have the former query already there, so let me just delete that query first. Yes, that is now gone. Maybe I could rename this as well. So let me call this something better than table 2. Population in Sweden from 1810 to 2012. That's the data I have. I apply and close. And the data should be loaded into my model. We can double check that by going into Power Pivot and the Manage button, and we will see that the table is still at the old name of the table. So let me just refresh that. If I refresh it, it will be refreshed in the model as well. So now we have population in Sweden from 1810 to 2012, correct naming down there in the tab in Power Pivot. So closing the Power Pivot window. then comes an important step. You need to bring a new sheet in here so it's empty. Otherwise, when you hit Insert and open Power Map or launch Power Map, you will have two data sets in here. Because Power Map will grab the table that you have if you do it on that page and bring that into Power Pivot as well. So yeah, and we don't want that because that data is not correctly transformed as we said earlier. Okay, so waiting here now for Power Map to launch. You saw what happened there quite quickly. Bing actually went in and made a lookup of the 290 municipalities of Sweden. If you have a touch-enabled device, this is, as I said, you can just use your fingers on the screen to do some zooming. Let me just go to the next step, and I'll try to remove my wife's email coming in here all the time. So what happens here on this right-hand side, this navigation piece here is quite central. It's called the task panel. And the first thing you need to do with any data set is decide what to map. How do we populate things on the map? So municipality here is the one that I've chosen. You can choose two columns in longitude and latitude, for instance, but if you have a municipality or a city, you can use that. Now in here we also have already mapped this. It's all been mapped to county. That's because Power Pivot has automatically interpreted this into a place, and that's why it then makes a lookup to Bing, and then essentially it maps it as a municipality or a county in American. Okay, so next is the button we want now, and then we want to decide, we want to visualize this over population. So note that there is no way of going back essentially to that first layer, which could be a bit confusing, but essentially you just choose what to map over, and then you have to go to next. So if you've chosen wrong, so just delete the layer and make a new one, and you can start over, and we'll do a new layer soon. So you can name the layers if you want to as well. I can actually take municipality here as well if I want to bring that into a category, but what I want to do is I want to bring population in, and I can remove this thingy here, and then I put not sum, I'll take average. Let's take average, or maybe I should take no aggregation when I come to think of it. Yeah, let's take no aggregation. And then I hit year, and the year will go down into the time here, and then I can the data stays until it's replaced. That was good. So now I get the play icon down here, and I can see exactly how the data plays out over the years. And if I want to show the better view of this, I can see that Stockholm gets really high here in the late 90s. So let's construct this layer a little bit more to my liking. First, I want to flatten the map. That's a very nice feature as well. So the map is now flat. I add some labels so we see where we are physically. So now it looks more like a map. We can actually zoom in on Stockholm here. We can have a theme. I like the night theme, of course. Makes very good display. And I want to bring out this this visualization, this little legend here where it says what time or year it is. So I click Edit, and I say, well, the format can be just the date, like that. And then let's make this bigger. Let's make it 36 or something like that. Accept, and then there's a little trick here. There's no way to only show year, but if I do like this, it will only show the year. So I'll just minimize that. Now we'll only have one little nice container with a year going by. And then I can, of course, add a text box to this as well, saying population of Sweden from 1810 to 2012. And yeah, that's great. Just put that up here. Maybe we should make this a bit smaller. Okay, brilliant. Like so. Of course, you can type in some more information on where the source is, where this comes from, etc., etc. But I'll just leave it at that for now. And let's add another layer. But before that, we'll just hit this little cogwheel, and then we can see we can have some manipulation. We can lower or raise the height. Let's bring up the height and bring down the thickness, and we can lock the current scale so that when we zoom out, the scale will stay the same. That's pretty nice. I'll change this to a lighter color because I like the lighter blue here in this visualization, specifically when we're adding a heat map to this. So now we're adding another layer, hitting this layer management button here, and then going to the new layer button. It automatically selects municipality, which is nice. It types them out like that, and just hit next, and then we take population again. We want to do essentially the same thing, but we want to do no aggregation, and we want to do year as well. And I remove this little layer here, and then I go not column, but I go heat map. We have bubbles as well, and then I can go and look at the color scale here. So I add some nice little color and in the bottom here of this radius of influence, something like that. And we are now done. We can lock that current scale as well. So if I hit play now, we'll see that the population of Sweden goes up, and Stockholm and Gothenburg are the big ones. And note that we have a little dip going here in the dipping in Stockholm. Let me just fix this. If you hit scene options, you then can say that this will be 20 seconds instead. And let's make a flyover. That's nice. And we can essentially, yeah, that's good. And then we will just hit play here, see what happens. Oh, there's no flyover when I do that, so let's play the tour instead, and I think we'll have a flyover. Here we go, here's the flyover. And we see the population in Gothenburg and Stockholm picking up. And in the 1960s, we see something interesting in Stockholm. Suddenly, it drops. The population drops. But what happens around Stockholm is that the suburbs the suburbs are booming with people moving out of the central town and then moving out. So essentially, that was happened in Stockholm. It's called Miljonprogrammet, the million program. Essentially, the government built a million places to live, or a million flats or apartments, I should say. So depending on your graphics card, you can have some graphical glitches from now and then, but usually it works fine. This is still a preview of the tool, but it's quite stable now. And as I showed you before, if you want to create a video, you just click create video. You of course also can capture the screen if you want to make a static image to have it in your any kind of presentation. You can add legends and 2D charts from more data. So create a video, just hit that one and make a presentation for HD display, computer and tablets, a bit smaller for mobile phones. You can hit that, and that will just take 1 or 2 minutes, and you'll have a nice little video. Okay, so that concludes my demonstration of the creating the population animation.